Good evening, everybody from across the globe. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, to answer your general immigration questions, things that you run into because of how complicated the immigration system is. And we use this time to give you general guidance on what's going on, general education. You always need to have a private consultation to really go into details about your unique case. But we reserve the time here every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, to take your questions live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or now X, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll have the recording there so you catch up with stuff later too over there. But as you have questions streaming in, please put them here. I am slightly sick. The throat hurts a little bit. Vanessa Waters says, hi, good night, good night to you too. So we'll try to go the full half hour, but it really depends on what is allowed by my throat. I'll try to speak slower and calmer than I usually do. I know you're used to me just going really fast and getting into it. I'll probably get into it because I get caught up in the moment, but we'll try to do our best and not to cough into the microphone too. That's another one I got to avoid doing. But having said that, let's get your questions about U.S. immigration live started right now on all these different apps as you're tuning in. Let me know if you have anything going on with that. Having said that, the immigration system is kind of weird. Some parts are taking longer, some parts are slower. We're seeing the embassies get a little bit better at scheduling interviews and have some timelines for specific countries I'm going to do videos on pretty soon to discuss that. So that's a positive thing that things are moving forward. We're really swamped with work and consultation requests, kind of backed up right now. If you need a consultation immediately, we do our best to accommodate you. You have a question here from Stefan. Stefan asks, I got an RFE. That's a request for evidence. If you submit a case and the government needs more information, they said, we were going to request more evidence from you. What's called RFE. They got it on the EB2 NIW, the National Interest Waiver. Does that mean my application may not be approved? Yeah, if you don't respond to what they're looking for to their satisfaction, your case can be denied. That's why they're asking for more information before they make a final decision, approval or denial. Imran asks, Super Genius, Imran_Super Genius asks, hey, sir, my green card has been approved on marriage base. How can I withdraw my asylum case? So I need to hire an attorney. I mean, you, sir. You have to contact, it depends on where your asylum case is in. It's probably at a field office waiting for an interview, most likely. And you have to write them a letter and let them know that, you have the status and you need to withdraw that. You don't have to hire an attorney, but I don't know. Some people don't need to really hire an attorney, but then they do things themselves and they really mess things up. And so I don't like to scare people into hiring an attorney. I don't want to scare people into paying a bunch of money and stuff, but you can do it yourself, but generally people can do it yourself. I don't know, the different levels of experience in people. And it's not that I've had people, and most of the time it's kind of like this. I've had people that are PhDs, like NASA scientists, literally NASA scientists, and like some basic stuff about like their names, they make errors on it, creates problems for cases. So I've had that particular fact pattern happen. So I can't really judge clients whether how capable they are, because I've seen really people who have no idea what's going on do a great job on their own. If you have really sharp and smart and rich, really mess things up. So I can't judge whether you need a hire attorney or not. But if you're unsure, hire attorney, contact the office, and we take it from there. It's not the biggest thing to do on a case, but you have to go in background and check everything out to make sure there's no, diminished risk that exists with doing that, from withdrawing it. All right. So Vanessa asks, hi, do you think it's better to apply for an I-130 online or print form since immigration? I don't have an opinion on which is better for worse. Depends on the scenario that you have. Both are options. Milton says, have my work permit through VAWA, but now I'm about to get divorced. How would it affect my case? If you have a VAWA case that's already submitted in a time frame, divorce by itself shouldn't be, but consult with an attorney in private and see what's going on. If you had a lawyer, they would have told you that. So you might not have a lawyer. And if you have those kind of questions, definitely should have some lawyer that knows what's going on in your case. Putea says, is it a requirement to have 3 tax returns to file for I-130? No, I-130 has nothing to do with tax returns. It does ask for evidence of relationship. So if you're filing joint taxes with your spouse, for example, that could be helpful. But the tax returns are required for the affidavit of support, which is either at the I-485 adjustment of status phase or at the consular processing phase with the National Visa Center. And you don't necessarily have to have 3 tax returns. You should have filed 3. They want the most recent one, copy of it, but the information, the total income listed on the 2 previous ones of that in the forms. Sometimes they want all 3, but rarely. How do I mute this so I don't cough? Okay, I found the mute button. Okay. Bahman asks, hi, John. I much appreciate it. Thank you, Bahman. If USCIS has already asked for proof of bona fides and we have provided in case approved in 2 weeks, can interview be waived by embassy system in Canada? No, the interviews are not waived. Embassies don't waive interviews for green card cases. I'm not sure exactly what case you have because you say bona fide is probably marriage, but it could be other types of cases. And the case was approved in 2 weeks. The case hasn't been approved if you still haven't had your embassy interview. So that's why the intricacies of it gets too much to be able to give case specific guidance here because there's like things that are inconsistent in the way you've terminized the terminology you use. Which I understand, it's very technical, but I have to be very specific in what I answer, not to mess things up. And based on the way you word that, it becomes hard to answer that properly. Where it says, just applied for asylum, can I have a social security number in order to buy stuff like a car? And can I travel around the U.S.? I have my passport, not state issued. Well, if you file for asylum after 5 months, you file for a work permit. Once that's issued, you'll get a social security number and you can get a driver's license from that. Matthias says, thank you, you're welcome. Multilingual says there's 22 months waiting for I-485 based on marriage. Normal is the average processing times. There's no normal, there's no average, but 22 months starts being too much unless you've been married, unless like I-485 based on marriage to a green card holder as opposed to a citizen. That could be a reason. Mrs. Bodie asks, how long is green card taking these days? There's different kinds of bases for green cards. Each have their own timelines. Kidar says, how long is I-61A? 1 to 4 years. Richard says, I joined the army to get my parents' residency. Say this so people know it had no wish I would have known sooner. Yeah, there's a program where if your parents didn't enter lawfully, if you go in the army, you could do a thing called parole in place, and they'll give this artificial basis of your parents legally. That you have requirements for a green card, which is entering and staying legally, in addition to being parents of U.S. citizens. You have to be 21 or older. There's other requirements too, but yeah, parole in place is very important for those to enter the military. It's an option for spouses, parents, something to definitely. Angelica says, after work permit, when can I get my green card approved? There's no correlation between the EAD or work permit being approved and your green card being approved. Jenna, hello. Processing times are 61 days. Some are getting approved faster, but it's all over the place. Vanessa follows up, after the green card is approved in other country, how long does a person need to be here in the U.S.? You need to start living here. That's it. Once you got your green card, you should be a resident in the United States. Namol asks, I'm a Canadian student. Can I apply for U.S. doctoral? You can apply. Yeah, I could always apply. Okay. Karu says, how long does it take for I-130 petition? Depends on what kind of petition it is. Imran says, we are great, sir. Thank you. Nikki asks, is it bad to have a joint sponsor if my husband meets the minimum incomes? He's freelance, so his income it's set. It varies. Yeah, in these kind of situations where someone's self-employed or freelance and it's like lack of consistent income is hard, it's just usually if you have a joint sponsor, we try to include a joint sponsor because it'll just avoid back and forth with the government about these documents. So you still have to submit an I-864 affidavit of support for your spouse, even if you're going to use a joint sponsor. But normally we do get a joint sponsor if possible, just to make things easier for you. It creates more work. You have to do with this and as an additional person on the hook financially, all that kind of stuff. But definitely something to look into. Manu asks, would you recommend filing lawsuit against USCIS or pending F-400 application? It's been more than a year. Would you recommend in general? I don't recommend. I don't do lawsuits myself, so I don't make recommendations on that because I'm not an attorney that's fighting it out in lawsuits. Give you the best perspective, but generally, yeah, if you're fed up and it's been a year after an interview, if it's just regular U.S. 1 year pending, that's normal. You could file a lawsuit, but that's not a big deal. If you had your interview and it's still pending, yeah, you should file a lawsuit probably. But again, it depends on the facts of the case, so I can't say for sure. But 1 year for pending is not a big deal necessarily. This doesn't shock me. Sean says, as a citizen, can I file for my mom and add my little sister petition? No, unfortunately. Or I have to file separately. You have to file separately, and age doesn't matter. As a U.S. citizen, you have to file for separately, and your mom is faster to get it. Your sister will take 15, 20 years. What could possibly happen is once your mom gets the green card, she turns around and applies as a green card holder for her child. Hopefully, the child remains under 21 when the case is filed and the Child Status Protection Act works and keeps them there. That could potentially lessen the case timeline from 15 years to maybe 7 to 11 years. Excuse me. Where's the button for mute? I forgot. But it's a big problem. Some lawyers say that you should also file a humanitarian parole to try to get your little sister here in the meantime. I haven't had success really at humanitarian parole working. But they say it's an option, but it creates a lot of problems in these kind of scenarios because you can't bring them in together at the same time. Mohammed Jawad asks, I came to U.S. on a B1, B2 visa, converted to student, and I want to call my wife United States. Please advise me best route. You got to apply for F2 visa. If your WI visa is expired, can you attend city colleges? I'm not sure what a WI visa is. I think you mean I don't know. Most places, like in California, you don't need immigration status to be able to attend. But I'm not sure what kind of visa you had or what the situation is. Can an adopted child file a green card for me? I don't know. I don't handle adoption. It's possible, I think, but it has to be done properly according to the rules and stuff like that. But I have to look at the I-130 Form 130 instructions. Says exactly. I don't handle too many adoption cases, so I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say the wrong thing. Joseph Tuwami says, how long does it take for USCIS to make a decision after receiving an RFE response? There's no timeline. Nick says, thank you. You're welcome. Maya says, when you get a green card to file for whenever they get around to it. Another question is about F2A, how long the processing times? It's all over the place. You're welcome, Madam Chair. Mine means I-130. What was their question about I-130? If your I-130 is expired, can you attend? Imagine, how does an I-130 get expired? I'm not really sure what's going on. Maybe best to schedule a private consultation. Sean says, thank you. You're welcome. Miley says, hi, my I-751 was pending for 2 years. Now my relation's falling apart. I might get divorced. What's your advice on it? You have to talk with us privately. Actually, I went to USCIS interview where the exact same scenario happened yesterday. I think the case is going to work out well, but this is a very complex situation. So Malik, definitely schedule a consultation with our office, talk with one of our lawyers about this to plan it out. It's some intricacies that you need to be aware of. So let's switch off. Let's go to YouTube and get some questions there. Warris asks, USCIS give me a biometric date within 2 weeks after applying for asylum. Does that mean my interview will be soon? Not at all. It's whenever. That they're unrelated. Getting a biometric appointment is just an automatic thing that happens. Bob says, sorry, petition on Thursday approved after we provide proof. And yes, it's marriage-based, picks, blah, blah, blah. Batman, I don't know if your spouse is a U.S. citizen or not. So that's another thing. But I-130 being approved, that's that. You still need to do an interview at the embassy if you're doing consular processing. Melvin, one of our regulars, good to see you. Greetings, John. Please, NBC sent a message to wait for my interview since September 6, 2023. I haven't heard anything from the embassy. What's happening? They just really backed up. Melvin, please remind me which embassy you're dealing with, but that's normal. Unfortunately, some embassies are taking a year or 2 years to get an interview. Angel asks, hey, I sent RFE medical. What's going on? It just takes forever. It's really what it is. Bill says, I applied to remove conditions on March 2022. I'm still waiting. Can I contact them for my ICE? No, I mean, you got a receipt notice that gave you a 4-year extension. That shows you how much they expect these timelines to take. If you've been married and living with U.S. citizen, you should look into filing for citizenship. Fast forward that. I would talk to the lawyer. Does San Diego grant asylum to Eritreans? I don't handle asylum cases. Baba says, what major should I study in school? I should attend to be in your position. It doesn't matter what you study in school. You just got to go to law school at the end of it. Osman says, I have marriage green card extension. Didn't go on my second interview yet. Can I apply for passport? I have to see the case, but it may be possible, Osman. Schedule a consultation in the office. Taxes Cowboy says, can you please tell me waiting time for I-130? There's different types of I-130, so different processing times. Go to USCIS.gov for that kind of information. My husband got his I-618 approved after biometrics. What to expect next? Well, you got to start working on consular processing, Anxious Mama, right now. That's your name, Anxious Mama. You need to set up consular processing and talk with the lawyer. Whoever's helping with the I-618 should have been on top of it. But if it's approved, you got to work on scheduling an embassy appointment. Okay, let's see. We got a lot of the repeat questions popping up on TikTok as usual. Got to flip through them. Okay, let me just go fast forward a lot. Fortunately, a lot of people on TikTok post the same question, so we never get to it. If I wait over 2 years from our last time together, can't do a K1? Yes, you have to have met in the last 2 years, unless there's an exception. You can file for like a waiver of that, but it's very hard to get a waiver, so go see each other. Shafa says, do place of birth have any effect on immigration time? Yes, it does. It depends on what country you're from, what kind of case you're doing, but yes, it can. Like if you're born in India or China or Philippines, Mexico, Philippines, these kind of countries have backlogs in certain cases. Tanner says, hello, sir. I applied for a Assam-based green card in July 2020. Still pending. Those are pretty backed up. Like 3 years is a lot, but those are backed up. We don't. Rat says, if you come to the border, Assam pending, we don't. And parole, can you get married in the U.S. and get a green card? It depends on what kind of parole you have. We'd have to review your entry documents. Sage says, can a religious worker apply for NIW? Please let me know. It's not that they can't. We need to know more information about how successful you are before you advise on that. Galilad says, what's a new immigration deal? Don't bother looking into immigration deals or proposed bills until something is law. Don't bother reading it because it doesn't make a difference. Most likely it's not going to go forward. Prince says, I'm married. My wife lives in Canada, so I have to file taxes married separately or single. Well, you got to file as it is. So if you're single, you file single. But if you're married, you got to file accordingly. You should talk with an accountant about that. Most accountants won't know what to do, so they'll say write single, but that's not appropriate. Tanner says, hello, sir. I applied for a sound-based green card. We answered that one. I have an E2 investor visa up for renewal in 4 months. Is it difficult to renew without attorney? I don't know anything about your case. If you have a $50 million factory that's developing things and has hundreds of employees, if not 1,000 employees, then yeah, that should be fine. But in other cases, you barely, have the business move forward. You have errors in your paperwork. Your corporate documents are how I don't know. March 2022 still pending. Should I contact them? Kind of regular costing. I-130 marriages approved is going to 6 months. I have not heard anything yet. Well, what did you do? I-130 for consular processing. Check out your I-130 receipt notice. Did they keep the case in the U.S. or they send it to the embassy or National Visa Center? If it was supposed to go to the embassy and consular processing, National Visa Center, and you didn't designate it on your I-130, the case is stuck with USCIS, and you have to do a bunch of unfortunate, time-consuming, expensive paperwork to fix that. Kim says, what if your minor green card is still pending, but you as a mom got yours? Probably just got to wait for that to get approved. How long will it take? I don't know. Diol says, brother, what can we do if a number matched to other person or has green card? Contact USCIS to see what's going on. Son says, do permanent residents have to become a citizen? No. SST says, when J1 waiver based on hardship gets updates, sponsor views request, how long does it take? There's no timelines, just whenever they get around to it. Okay, we're getting a lot of the questions about how long, and I don't really have answers for those. So please don't ask questions about timelines. I really can't answer you. So Shabar, I think you might have made an error on your application I-130. So definitely consult with the attorney or contact USCIS. Laura says, my girlfriend came through SIB. She has been here less than a year. Is her case still open? Can I have 2 cases at the same time? So I add myself. Laura, we got to look into your case and what's going on. So please schedule a consultation. What kind of visa should I apply if I want to attend a science conference? If you're just attending a conference, a B1, B2 tourist visa. Okay. Let's fast forward all these questions. Let me go to Instagram. Okay, Cindy asks, can a daughter file a petition for a mother green card whose daughter recently started working at 21 years of age? Is the filing will be green card rich for mom? I'm not sure your question isn't fully clear, but a 21-year-old citizen can apply. If they recently started working, they could have problems with that. So that's something to look into. Potentially joint sponsor is needed. Plus, you need to satisfy other immigration requirements. Our sports at schedule, Cindy, the best thing to do is schedule a consultation with an attorney at our office. Our sports says, inform I-485. Should we answer yes to public charge K1 visa? I can't advise you how you can answer specific form question. Shama says, how can I get an appointment for visa in Malaysia? I've been trying to self-schedule. No appointments came up. Keep rechecking to see if someone cancels and you can take their spot. I'm your host. It says, EB2 and IW here have been 9 months. And how long does EB take? There's no deadline. Should I file my nameless lawsuit? That's up to you. I'm going to say I don't have any guidance on that. That's up to your personal decision. But administrative processing doesn't have a deadline. Greg says, I just got approved for I-130 family base. I'm supposed to I-485 now, but I recently smoked marijuana. Should I be worried? You shouldn't be smoking marijuana. It's illegal for a non-citizen to do that. Even it's illegal for citizens to do that, but they're not going to have immigration consequences. So yeah, smoking marijuana is bad, and put it in public with your name and stuff isn't much good idea to. But let's say hypothetically you did that, it could be problematic. Talk with the lawyer in private. Let's see. Abby says, can you travel domestically when K1 visa expired? Yes. I applied to remove conditions. I already answered that. Sorry. What kind of visa? We answered that. If any U.S. citizen is 16 years old going to jail is defective in wife marriage green card. If any U.S. citizen is going to jail, I'm not sure what that question is about. It's probably better something talking private. I-2 Mima says, I-24 approved. It is 6 months. How long is processing time? You got to keep calling them to push them because they forget these cases. So be in contact with USCIS constantly to push them to move the case forward. Jamaican Express Empress says, can you file for citizenship with a 2-year conditional green card along 40 extension while being married this morning? Yeah. But I got to read your case, but you could file for citizenship while your removal of condition is still pending if you meet the other requirements. 10-year green card, divorce, 11 years of marriage, 2 kids, want to apply for citizenship. Do I need to approve? Probably. We got to prep for it. Probably not. I was denied. Omar says, I was denied my naturalization. Can I still be able to renew a green card? It depends. on why they denied your citizenship. I mean, you probably will be able to renew your green card, but I can't say that for sure. We got to dive into your case to see what happened that you got a denial. Next says, I'm a U.S. citizen and my spouse on F1 visa. We have not applied for a green card yet. Can she travel outside the U.S. at this point? I heard opinions being denied. Yeah, there's always a chance you'd be denied entry. So once you're in the U.S. and you're married to a U.S. citizen and you have some sort of non-immigrant visa, like an F1 student visa, we don't want people to travel because we never know how the immigration officer, the CBP port officer is going to take you when you're trying to re-enter. So it's not recommended. It's up to you if you want to take the risk. I've had clients take the risk that have no problems. But again, it's up to you if you want to take that risk. Usually in this case, we file for the green card as soon as possible to try to get travel authorization as soon as possible. Better not risk it. But again, depends on what's going on in your life, what you want to do. Let's see. User 4 says, can my husband sponsor me for a green card? He got his green card from previous marriage. It depends on how long it's been since he was married and divorced and he got the previous green card, as well as what evidence he has of that relationship, so they don't call that into question. So user 4 or 5, these are kind of things you definitely want to schedule a private consultation with the attorney about to analyze like the whole case, to go back into that. Can I call you personally off TikTok with questions? Yeah, during a consultation session, Sunshines, there's consultation fees, but that's the way to do it. Just email the office. Deb says, I'm disabled. My fiance is being sponsored by my father. Should I find part-time work? No, if you got a financial sponsor, that's fine. Next says, will it be a problem if me and my spouse live in different states? She's F1 visa and lives in another state due to college. I actually got this scenario approved right now in the same case that had your fact powder next, Fatah. So we had a couple who got married, F1 student with U.S. citizen. Citizen lived in the West Coast. The foreign national F1 visa holder studying in the East Coast. They couldn't live together. She had to travel. So she traveled, came back after marriage, and it was okay. And then several months after that, because the students can be a student for a long time, so it'll be a while before they even need to file for a green card. But they're going to be increasing government filing fees and complexity to cases. So we just filed for the green card and got the I-130 approved today, actually. So, and they live separately. You want additional evidence, and we explained, the employment the petitioner, the U.S. citizen, had required that they come in person, and they work for a famous company that had publications in the news that said they're calling off work from home, and so he had to stop living with his wife and come back to the West Coast. And we just had evidence of it. It got approved. We do this once or twice a year. We have a case like that. If you have a good reason, it's okay. Let's go to Instagram. Maya Joanna says the price of a consultation is between $200 to $325 for a 30-minute video consultation, depending on things that you, depending on who you want to speak with. Okay, I-130 has been pending for 3 years. What advice? Depends on what kind of I-130 you have. Audrey says, I-130 is approved in 2019. I submitted adjustment this month. How long? I don't know how long it take. Shalima says, I'm still waiting an appointment for citizenship. The first one I failed with the questions. They said we'll schedule another one, 7 months, no appointment. Try calling them, but it really is up to them what they want to do, how long it'll take. Jess says, how long for a CR1 interview? I don't know. Hello, why do you skip my question? I answered your question, Bill New York, at the very beginning. 10-year green card renewal after divorce, any issue? I don't know, I have to see the case. I have to read your documents and your background. Shafu says, place of birth is wrong. My passport, if I change the correct country, will affect my current F1 visa. Yeah, because if it was wrong and you submitted a form DS-160, you wrote the place of birth. So that later on, or if they find out, they'd be like, why did you lie about your place of birth? If you knew it was wrong in your passport, why did you state it was this place in the visa application? So they get you for fraud. Maro says, they may not, but that's a realistic possibility. Mara says, when you get refused for misrepresentation for E2, how can you figure out that you're not admissible? So you have to see why they accuse you of misrepresentation and try to challenge it, which is hard to do. You want to do it very soon after this denial happens, Mira. But we got to see why the misrepresentation happened. So you're denied for misrepresentation, not refused. Refused as is different connotations, the technical term. But we got to see why they said that and how you could counteract that. Aisha says, if any U.S. citizen 16 years old going to jail, is that effective in wife marriage green card case? Potentially. I mean, there's sponsorship issues. It depends on what the charges are, whether they went to jail, all this kind of stuff. It'd probably be okay, but we need more information. Isabel says, hi, I just got approved for advanced parole. What documents do I need to take with me? Your passport and your advanced parole documents. And if you got approved for like advanced parole based on DACA, for example, take your DACA paperwork. That'd be good. Mira says, for not disclosing, been in the USA a long time before. They got you on misrep for that, Mira? That's kind of weird. You want to contact them and say, is this material or not that you did that you just forgot about it? But it depends on why they looked into that, how it looks in the whole picture, which I don't have. But that sucks to hear that. Saffron, hi, my dad's case was refused as an interview, and the reason refusal was communicated to us. Can we reapply his case? I don't know. Refusal and denial have different meanings, so we have to see S. Farouchin what happened and why they refused and what they said. You can't really appeal an embassy thing because it's the embassy, so we got to look at the whole thing. That's to see what happened. There's not enough information for me to guide you here. Can my husband sponsor me for a green card? He guys already answered that question on TikTok. Can I change my status if I get a job offer as nanny? Potentially, if they fall for you. Jake says, how do F1 students get good paying jobs? I don't know. I'm not here to advise on that. What is your specialty as immigration? What's my specialty? Well, we have a couple of things. We help people that are couples that are in love, marriage cases, fiance cases, as well as family members who love each other get the green cards. And then we help people with special talents. For example, researchers and scientists for cancer research or AI or technology, athletes, entertainers who have talent and those kind of things, music, top business people, things where you're one of the best at what you do, and you're come to the United States to do that. What you're doing greatly at talent based is what we do. So we have love based immigration and talent based immigration, self sponsorships particularly. Passion, I would say passion. You have a passion that you're really good at. It's probably the best way to put it. Let's say you're the best #1 Pokemon person in the world, potentially get a visa or green card on that. I-130 is still pending 3 years. What's your advice? I don't know what kind of I-130 you have, so I can't advise. If you feel like contacting USCIS for delay, then contact them. Nan says, I got I-824 still pending for 13 months. Yeah, they take a long time. Happy New Year. What about brother immigration time? It takes forever. Umar says, I'll deny my naturalization. I already answered that. Okay, we're getting a lot of repeat questions again, so let me skip a bunch. Let me go to YouTube and get some questions there. Umar says, who will win the presidency? I don't know. Nima says, after I-960, I think I-69 submission, how long will it take? I don't know. 10-year green card after divorce, can I travel outside? I need to review your background to be able to advise on that. For example, you have criminal history. That's where the issue is. If you don't have criminal history, then that's that. Okay. We have like 2 people are just asking the same question over and over again. So I'm going to have to block him. Yeah, fortunately. Sorry, Nima. I don't want to block. I want to mute. Sorry, cancel. I won't block you, but you can't keep asking the same question. It makes it hard to keep track of this stuff. We're almost done. How about that? All right, we'll take a couple more questions, 1 or 2 more questions, and we'll call it a day. I have to skip through a lot of questions because there's been repeats. So, how can I change my attorney? I apply for a to get more. You just get a new attorney. That attorney submits documents to the government, says they're your attorney now. How much do you have to earn a year to ask a family member? How much do you have to earn a year to ask a family member? To plan, depends. Look at the form I-864P, and it depends on your family size and what state you're in. And let's get this last one in. Got my green card 2020, then divorced in 22. When can I apply for citizenship? Then, so you got to wait 5 years before you file for citizenship. And let's see. Let's go to Instagram, see if there's the last question there. How can I figure out if I'm inadmissible? If you got accused of misrepresentation, inadmissible under INA 212. So they should have given you paperwork that specifically says that. So you need to look into it. There's a waiver for that too, for non-immigrant visas like E2 Mira. But at this point, it's best you have an attorney helping you to go through. You might have had one already, but if you schedule a full consultation at the office and we get into more detail about it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you. Be safe. I'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want to schedule a private consultation, email the office at info@jqqlaw.com. Let us know that you found us through the live video. Or if you watched the live show, it's helpful to see, if you are watching and contacting us through this particular avenue where I'm getting out. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Until the next one, God bless. Bye-bye.